So good morning. Today we're going to be talking about race in sport and difference and dominance. I'm Ben and
I'm Hugh Watson.
So let's take a look at our issue or our article. So the basis article on which we're basing this study is entitled Family of England winger Theo Walcott won't travel to Ukraine for Euro 2012 because they fear racist attacks. So let's take a little bit an in-depth look into this article. So Theo Walcott is an international soccer player, and his brother Ashley revealed on Twitter that he and his father Don would not be following England during their group matches in Kiev and Donetsk next month because of concerns of their safety. Unfortunately, my dad and I have taken the decision not to travel to the Ukraine because of the fear of possible racist attacks or confrontations. So, racism has no place in the modern world. Which is a comment that is made by the Walcott family. On Wednesday, England manager Rob Hodgson voiced concern that supporters may be subjected to racist attacks in Ukraine, as he discussed the inclusion of John Terry in his squad, who himself is facing a court case for alleged racial abuse. Hodgson's comments came after a Sky television report earlier this week, which said Ukrainian neo-Nazis in Donetsk were planning to target black and Asian England supporters at next month's finals. Okay, so that is a problem because the Walcott family will not follow their own son because of fears of the racial attacks. There's no doubt that the issue of racism and the Sky report into hooliganism and the violence in the Ukraine is obviously a concern to us all, and I would think, not least of all, the supporters who are going to be over there and maybe at risk of getting beaten up if they don't happen to be white, Hodgson said. So that's the article basically. And it goes on to say, racism is a pan-European problem, and in East European stadiums, it sometimes expresses itself in graphic ways. Our research has shown it has been a genuine problem in both Poland and Ukraine. However, Euro 2012 has been a good impulse for anti-racist educational activities in the host countries. So there is some research there that they have been doing some research into some anti-racist educational activities in the host countries, which is really good. But where does difference come in? Well, difference and otherness, I guess, and otherness can be another word for difference, but the Walcotts feel as though they're different from white people. White people give the Walcott family this sense of difference. How does Theo feel about this? Well, his own family won't follow him on his international career as a soccer player because they fear racist attacks. So, I mean, Theo is going to be feeling pretty different, as though his own family can't come with him to play soccer, to watch him play soccer, because this sense of difference is put on them and the other supporters, and that, you know, racism gives a sense of otherness or difference. It just puts this otherness onto people. So let's take a look at, we're going to use this article and have a look at how we can use this in curriculum. And we look at this question: what ideas do you have for how you might teach about difference from this event?
So, racism is an issue which permeates society, and until it is changed, then equality and fairness cannot be achieved. To give school children an idea about how they might gain an understanding of racism and how it affects people, teaching by examples is a good way of making young children understand. Explain to them that they wouldn't be able to walk through the shopping centre because it wasn't safe due to the colour of their skin or the way they talk. Hopefully you can draw out of the event that Theo Walcott is a person just like everyone else, and the only thing that makes him different is the colour of his skin, but this doesn't make him any less of a person than someone with white skin. How would you feel if you went to a soccer match and you were subjected to abuse to the point of your life being threatened? It's not nice, no matter what the reasoning behind the rudeness, not to mention completely unfair and preventable.
So as we look at the next question, what would you hope to draw out of the event that might assist learners deepen their understanding of difference?
So, what makes it different from the normal? Difference can be anything that we classify as not ourselves. It can be anything from different skin colour to a different accent or where we live. The event shows the wrong way with which some people treat difference because they cannot accept anything but themselves. The fact that Theo Walcott's family won't travel because of fear of racism shows how unnecessarily limiting it is and how people's lives can be ruined as a result.
So that's good so far, but what potential does the event hold for critical engagement of various locations and senses of self?
Well, we can learn from this event in the way that it can help us to come to terms with ourselves and where we are at in terms of race and what we consider different and diverse. The publication of this event and the publicity that Theo Walcott's family's plight will receive will go a long way to raising awareness of the issue, in particular where the problem is such as the Ukraine, and they may one day realise their mistake. As Theo Walcott said, racism has no place in the modern world. This article can also help us in the way that in different social situations we act differently. The article gives us different perspective of racism, and hopefully we will take this on board and not be pressured into making racist comments just because of social pressure or other factors.
So as we look at this final question, how might the event allow you to work to reduce discrimination in the community? Well, we can use it as an example as to why we should try to reduce racism. People can be hurt by discrimination and racism. We can tell kids and use this article as an example as to how we can go about treating people with full worth. Theo's family are so scared and won't go with him to support him because they fear of racial abuse. Their lives have been threatened. And again, Theo, how does Theo feel? Well, his family won't go with him to Ukraine to support him in his national career. Students need to understand this in order to try to reduce racism in the community. Racism can destroy people's lives. So students need to grasp this understanding that racism, it's not a nice thing. It destroys people, it's hard on people's families, and it only leads to destruction.
Alright, so in conclusion, this article about Theo Walcott's family refraining from travelling to the Ukraine for fear of racist abuse and confrontations teaches us the horrible truth about racism. We can gain a greater understanding of racism by putting ourselves in the shoes of those who are victims of racism. We can learn about difference and diversity by breaking down what we consider as different from what we are in the sense of otherness. The event serves as both a transformative educator and to help to reduce discrimination through awareness of the issue, particularly in countries such as the Ukraine where it is most needed.
So I hope what we've said here has given a little bit of understanding of racism and how it can help us as future educators. So yeah, thank you for listening, and yeah, thanks.